always start off with a normal snaffle. You know, I really like these snaffles with the copper in the middle. Just bring it here because I think the copper, they seem to mouth up a little bit better with the copper. So quite often with these, they just have a normal snaffle. Well, all of them normal snaffle, and if they're a little bit strong, then basically most of that is their strength to hold themselves, not anything to do with the horse. You know, it needs to learn. You know, if they get strong, that you keep doing a transition until they learn to carry it at the speed you want it to go. It's not about putting a different bridle in. And until we were starting to think about, they were even, I would say, very rarely belong younger than 6 or 7 would we ever change out of a plain snaffle with it. You know, sometimes we might have one that's particularly difficult with his tongue and put a tongue layer to try and because they try and flick their tongues over the bit. But
you've got a flash on there. Is that pretty standard? Pretty standard.
Sometimes I think we perhaps put them on too often because we get used to putting them on. You know, when they don't need them, because they don't all need one. But what I try and do is do the top one fairly tight and just fairly loose on the bottom flash, so that she can still mouth up and learn around that she don't. Oh, and then that she learns that she can still open her mouth, and the same the top one. So yes, she learns to keep it, but she can still open her mouth. You know, so often that the top one is so loose that when you do the flash up, it's pulled down here, cutting off the air supply. Basically, I would much prefer. And the other thing, which sort of quite often when people come here, they end up, you know, to me the top cavesson wants to be right up tight underneath the cheekbone. I'd rather see a mark on the cheekbone from it being too high than it being too low and ending up with it right down here. And if it's too low, when you pull on the mouth, the skin pinches, and then the horse gets as a reaction because it pulls against the, which is common sense, but it's something that probably I would see at least half the horses that you see at an amateur level, that people think that they're, you know, that to have it low because the pony club said yes, they don't like rubbing on the cheekbone. Some horses have got quite a low cheekbone anyway. It ends up so low that they end up with pinching there. And as you understand, you know, a horse's mouth is probably as soft as ours. So the last thing you want is to think, you know, is to really, it's treating them with your hands and with everything else like that, like you'd like to be treated if somebody put a bit in your mouth.
You wouldn't use martingales at all when you're youngsters?
You know, if we get one particularly difficult at this stage throwing his head about, we'd probably put a standing martingale on loosely, so that you know, if one's difficult, that he realises he can't escape that way. But no, normally it wouldn't be necessary.